Hi, I'm Sriram Sridharan, co-founder and CTO of Rocks. In the previous episode, we discussed the unified permissioning model and the importance of governed agents. In this episode, we'll talk about reads, the retrieval layer. Retrieval is the whole game for agent quality. Feed an agent the wrong context and no amount of model intelligence saves you. Feed it the right 10 rows and a small model looks brilliant. Over the last 3 sessions, we built the foundation, the lake, the meaning, and the permissions. And we left this question mark on the board. When an agent needs an answer, how does it actually ask? Today, let's find out. Here's a real question. Which accounts renew this quarter with no open opportunity? Simple to say, but the renewal date lives in contract data, opportunities live in the CRM, and whether the customer is healthy lives in usage history. 3 systems for 1 sentence. That's the key problem. Every question crosses multiple system boundaries. So the agent goes system by system, stitching partial answers and hopes. Here's what happens instead when the question lands on this stack. There are 3 ways to get data to an agent. Search, token matching across everything, broad, noisy, and it returns candidates instead of answers. RAG, embed everything, retrieve by similarity. It's probabilistic. You tune it, you hope the right chunks come back, and sometimes they do. And then there's what this layer does. Surgical retrieval over structured data. The agent asks a precise question, the system returns exactly the rows that answer it, and nothing else enters the context window. The query surface is SQL. SQL is a 50-year-old solved problem. Join ordering is famously hard, and the database community spent decades building optimizers for it. Every query an agent issues here inherits that work for free, the same way an analyst query would. One more thing that drives on every query is an identity. The permission layer from last session lives inside this path. So the results come back scoped to whoever asked, human or agent, checked at the time of inquiry. 3 things sit under this surface. The graph from earlier in the series. Entities, relationships, already resolved. A catalog which maps every attribute to its physical home. This column could live in a lake, it could live in a product database, or it could live in object storage. And annotations. A plain language note on every field so the agent knows this one is contract renewal date, this one is health score computed weekly, etc., etc. The graph makes the data joinable. The catalog makes the data findable, and annotations make the data understandable. Now the hard part. The data doesn't live in one place, and we never ask you to centralize it first. Some could sit in your lake, some could sit in object storage, and some could live in a transactional store. So one query has to span multiple systems. The engine reads the catalog to find where each attribute lives, splits the query across the systems, pushes the filtering down into each one so the data isn't hauled across just to be thrown away, and stitches the results back together. From the agent side, one query, one answer. Underneath is all the federation. One more source that belongs in this fan. Agents produce data too. Research on an account, notes on a contact, state that keeps as they work. That lives in a transactional store on your side or on ours, and the same surface covers it. An agent can join its own research against CRM records and usage history in a single query. Everything that the agent knows and everything that the business knows under one surface. So that's reads. A SQL surface, an identity on every query, and a graph and a catalog underneath with federation across all the data. But agents just don't ask. They produce field updates, new contacts, new research. That output has to land in your warehouse and or in your CRM, which your downstream processes depend on. Writing back at scale is a much nastier problem than it looks, and we'll cover that in the next session.